Bonsai back in the house. We're not out on the water, but we got out this weekend, so I thought I'd do an update on that, show you guys what I've changed on some of the reels, what's coming up, and we've got some stuff coming from Rogers Sporting Goods. And yes, this one made it in, and this one, it's got a slight rattle to it, but it works. If you guys remember right, I got one from Amazon so I could have it quicker. It was junk. Send it back. I haven't gotten a refund yet, but should be able to get a refund easier since it was from Amazon. But I did go ahead and I didn't go do any testing or any measuring, but I just, went out, cast a rod, lined it up, and reeled it in, and this counter does work. So yeah, so that's going to work. And the trick to these are, though, if you guys ever decide to use one, you've got to watch. You can't really, if you do it in the wind, you have to, I guess, be fair or watch if the line blows or something like that. So I'd recommend, if you're casting a heavy enough thing, is to cast it, and as it hits, if there's any line blown out, or stop it right when it hits or that kind of thing. I've noticed that could be an issue, because I really noticed that when I was out casting without anything, when we were at that strip pit, and I'd literally watch it land shorter than it did the first time, but the way the line would pull out, it would pull more of my line to where I had like the spool split in half with the line. So anyway, we got our line counter in. We'll be able to do some different testing and different stuff like that. We've changed some stuff up. This is the original lingle I bought, stock handle, but I did put the camo knobs on it, and I think I'm going to put camo line on it and call it good. And this will probably still be the one that goes on the small medium light carbon light 2.0, 6'6". I'm still debating up in the air if I should buy a 7-foot medium light and just keep both, use both of them. Then I'm still up in the air with this thing, because I'm still not sure. I like all the gold I added, but I don't know for sure which handle or knob assembly would look better. So I added this with the camo line if I'm going to run a 20-pound, but I may not be doing that. But all the gold's staying for sure. Just the handle and the knobs, I'm still not sure where I'm going for sure on the Zillion. But somebody commented about, not messing with the cheap AliExpress handles. But I'm telling you right now, see that handle assembly? This one looks good. In my opinion, it looks closer to a Steez handle. Even in person, it doesn't look that far off. Yes, you can tell it's made a little cheaper, but it's got the same kind of styling. And it was only like 10 or 12 bucks, and it comes with different knobs than what it's on it now, but I think I like it better than the thicker looking. I mean, this one looks good, but I think there's better options. There's something better out there, and I don't think I need to spend crazy amounts of money for a handle. But I like that handle. Actually, I like that handle assembly. There's nothing wrong with it. It's crazy dirt cheap compared to what and it's stout. There's nothing, no issues. Daiwa, same kind of. It's not like some crazy oddball where you got to mess with stuff. So I like that handle assembly, and it comes in a lot of different ways. It's all over AliExpress. You'll see it with the press cork knobs. You'll see it with I don't know, a bunch of different knobs, and it's usually 10 to 12, 14 bucks. So I have still not found a home for this. Thank you again, once again, Luz and Crazy Luz Lady. I can't remember your name. Sent me that handle assembly. Love it. Don't know when I want to put it on yet. I think I'm going to stick it on this guy for now. Just because I don't really have anything else to put it on. If I didn't love this assembly right here, the stock handle is by far my favorite. It's only 85 millimeters. Looks real nice, clean. These knobs I made, cut down for it. I like everything about that. So that is staying the same. I would try it on that if it wasn't for that, but I think that needs aluminum anyway. It's the got more of a metally paint job, right? Metallic. I think this one will be good on here. And I'll probably put the deep spool in it, put a little heavier line, and who knows what we'll do with this. Because if you guys remember right, yes, sometimes I even have to go back and rewatch old Bass and Bonsai videos. When I made the Joker, this, although it's 7:3 to 1 ratio, it does have brass gears. This doesn't have aluminum. So technically this one is a more robust, stouter, should, in theory, be able to handle way more, like, you know, pressure pull, but probably not since it's only a graphite frame also. But I may go ahead, instead of, that's the shallow spool now, I may just go ahead and put a deep spool on it. But when we were out over the weekend fishing, I was casting a jerkbait with the Joker, and I've got that purple line, that angry fish line that is supposedly 18-pound test. And Jay had been questioning me about doing a stress test, and I did, like the line tension, but the results were kind of weird. But I think all of the line I have breaks about a pound before it is supposed to break. So that 18, I think it goes past 15, but I don't think it makes it to 18. But it is a thinner diameter, and so I don't know. I kind of like that line, and it. The original place I bought it at, though, was cheap, and then they jumped their price up from like $8 a spool I was buying that you saw there to like $20. But then I found it at a couple other stores, so I hope they don't jack the price up on it, because I think I like that line, and I'll probably keep continuing to use the blue and purple from there. But this line I'm not having any issues with, the Proberos or the Hercules. And I don't know, for a split second, I've thought about trying another braid. The only other braid that really sounds like it might be for me, just to try a higher, not even a higher end, but the Suffix 832. I've brushed with it briefly in the last couple years, and I think it would be all right. But I don't think it's any better than what I got, and I don't really want to waste that money to do a little test. And then I already kind of done that. I've got a bunch of lines sitting over here that I don't even really use at the moment. So anyway, I don't need any more reels. Technically, I still got reels for sale, but here's what I'm thinking about doing, and then we're going to get to the fishing, the progress, the regress, and all of it that took place over the weekend. Let me read a comment here. Yeah, this measures in meters, but you can kind of translate, and really what I'm going to use this for is not really to tell how many feet, how many inches. When I put this on, it's probably just going to be, and you know, I'll give you guys a rough idea. You'll be able to see in meters, and you could also Google Translate if you want. But it's, say if I'm going to put the Steed spool up against this spool in an all-out distance, it'll let me know, you know, which one's thrown further, whether it be in meters or feet or whatever. So it'll get the job done. But yeah, it's and as chintzy as they are, it's a possibility I may end up just getting one that does it in feet and a digital one. But I really don't even, I don't know. I kind of only do that for you guys. I don't really care. Once I'm out on the water, I can tell you which one casts further and just like easier and better for me to work with. And so far, it's becoming all of these newer boost spools. Like their hands and above, in my opinion, they're better than the stock spools by maybe just a hair, but they're just better than, it's just a, like I feel I can go out there, and once I start casting, I know where the dial, if it's on, you know, 4 or 5 or 6, I was probably thrown in the wind if it was on 6, and if it's not windy, I can go right back down to 4. If it's on 4 and it's like winds gusting 10, 15 miles an hour, I would probably be better off to at least start at 5 and go from there. It's kind of a, you know, easier for me, and then there's like less issue. And what's funny is the next braking systems, if anything, would be the Acura and the actual Lingo shallow spools. They will cast amazingly with all the line that they'll hold, and they are almost more of the set it and forget it reels of any of them, because I feel when I do it in cast testing or whether I go out on the water somewhere almost to 4 is where they all, even the ones with the, you know, dynamic FTB style or the stock ones, now that I put those magnets in, it seems like all of them just almost to 4, and I can cast real far. Doesn't seem to impede the casting, but yet I can cast in the wind or whatever, and there's not really much of an issue. Those reels are working pretty good. I just hope they keep lasting. If you guys don't know, the Lingles are about a season in. We got them last winter. I fished them a while, traded them to Charles. He fished them a while. I got them back. They've only been fishing out once again with me, but they're more, you know, they're not near as refined as your other higher end reels. I would call them maybe not even as smooth as the Acura at the moment right now. They remind me of the old Daiwa aluminum gears when they're not worn out, but like they're not 100% as smooth as, say, when the Steez first came out. You could tell they were a little more refined than the older Daiwas, but they still have that good, just solid, connected, you know, smooth, real free feel, and, you know, no, so yeah, they feel good. All right, I'm going to show you what I got from Rogers, and then I'll tell you why I got a few things that I got from Rogers, and then we're going to go through the baits that me and Charles used, roughly what we used, and then wrap this video up. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. You guys aren't going to believe it. It's going to be under an hour. I'm telling you right now. So you guys have heard me talking, and I told you guys I wasn't going to get, and I'm not. I still didn't get the baby goats for my chatterbaits. Except, well, that's a little lie. A little white lie. A little green pumpkin orange lie. The baby goats, I've decided, will fit for me, and I just got a few other colors. I think I had the green ones already, so I got the... So I think I had hot snakes. I still have, so I've got green pumpkin orange, Okeechobee crawl, and I picked up some white ones, of course. These are going to go on some of my little finesse jigs, and then the little mini and micro chatterbaits. Could be with a little micro skirt of some sort, or no skirt at all by themselves, just to try them, but they will be good for the little jigs. So I picked up, I think I have a total of only 4 packs of these now, and I don't really plan on buying any more at the moment, because I still have some older, crazy flappers, and, you know, some other small stuff, but those will probably overtake to any of that real small finessey stuff, or on a Ned head or something like that. Which I don't really call that Ned or TRD, you know, fishing. If you take, even if you take the Ned head, but the minute you put something that's not a TRD on it, I really consider it's just you're fishing with small plastic on a little jig. Everybody and their brothers named it, you know, they call it Ned baits, but are they really Ned baits? Not really, in my opinion. So, the other Z-Man stuff I bought, hang on, oh my gosh, is when I was looking through my bag the other day, and I may have another one stuffed somewhere, but I was either almost out or I couldn't find my PB&J Zinkers. You cannot go leave home without your PB&J, right? So I just picked up another pack while I was there. And then, if you guys remember right, I was talking about getting some of the minis, because I think they're slightly different than the minis of old, or the ones I had at the moment. Because I think these have a slightly smaller hook. They're not real small. You can't really BFS with these because they do have a pretty good size hook. Let's just open up the pack. So it's a little 1/4 ounce bait, and I don't know if I'm going to keep these skirts or use my own different ones or whatever, but that bait should be good. And honestly, I probably need to pull, and basically need to pull it, get it in the spot I want it, and then probably hand tie that on if I decide to keep it, to where there's a little more of this out folding back. But you see that hook? I don't think I've got I don't have a chatterbait within range. A standard one. But that's not a real big hook, but it's not a real little one either. But yeah, this very easily can be thrown on probably a medium light or a medium, my medium moderate or my medium light. I don't know that I could actually throw it on my Teton 661. I've definitely set the hooks on stiffer, little stouter hooks than that. But I picked up 3 of those just to kind of, I've got a couple of Z-Man originals because in all honesty, you could go fishing with the Z-Man original stuff without messing with the jackhammer or any of the other brands that are on the market. I know everybody's going to say, oh, this is junk, that's junk, or whatever, but these are only $3.99. A lot of times you can catch them on sale even cheaper than that. And you can usually go locally and just pick them up, if you need them for the next week or whatever. So this one, of course, I'm going to track down. I got just a regular black and blue, chartreuse and white, and then this one with the gold blade is to either turn into like a green pumpkin-y one, or I'll put a black and blue skirt on it, and so we got that done. So then I went ahead and mainly just bought these for the heads. Now some of these, if you guys don't know the deal about up at Rogers Sporting Goods, they've got their house older brand jigs. So you basically just go in and you pick out 10 for $10, or they're $2 a piece. Or if you get 10 of them, they're only $1. So just when you go up there, if you ever make the trip or call and order them, or call Rogers and decide you want to buy anything from them, tell them to throw in 10 of the jigs for $10. But I got these for the simple fact I can use the different colored jig heads because I already had enough black and blue. So I got peanut butter and jelly, which come with the brown head, and then the green head are these this green color. So I also threw in, I don't remember how many to add up to the 10. I think I could only find 1 or 2. I was kind of in a hurry. Just a little smaller football head on this one here. They're the same price, so they were included in that. So I've already got a couple of the peanut butter and jelly, and a couple of these I'll probably leave alone, but then most of these will be changed into some other color of finesse jig, and I just mainly bought it. You can't go wrong for $1 a jig head, really. And those work good. I've already used them, caught fish, everything like that. So we might as well open everything up. Right? Just pull them all out. Let's get the black and blue one out. I don't really need these because I've got all of the other, AliExpress knockoff ones. I've still got a few jackhammers, a few Z-Man originals. But I think this will be that size, and I've got several of the micros, but for whatever reason, I'd had some of the minis. Like I said, I think they came with a little different. I want to say it was about the same size, but it was a little bit thicker gauge. I think they've changed them. And I'm not sure when the change took place, but I definitely like these hooks better. So anyway, they'll just be an added thing. I know I'm going way too crazy on chatterbaits, right? So now let's talk about, believe it or not, we did catch some fish. If you didn't watch one of the other live streams, we caught some fish on chatterbaits on Sunday. And I caught one fish on the Slobber Knocker knockoff. The other ones came on, Charles caught one on Z-Man Original chatterbait. I caught one on black and blue, the jackhammer, and then I believe it was the green, kind of the copy of the Beehite Delight in the 3/8 ounce. I caught one on that, and I think that may have been it. 4 total chatterbait fish, but that's pretty good. 42, 43 degree water temps. So we went out Saturday, and we had limited time because we went to the expo. We only had like 3 or 4 hours, a different body of water, but we went to the only place we knew we could get in there, and it wasn't as windy, and it's a bigger place. We really needed more time to fish it better. As you'll see in the video, I just got done editing it, but it's uploading and all this. The first 5 minutes, you guys have to bear with me. The first 5 or 6 minutes of that video, there's no sound, but Charles was catching bass. So I could have just weeded it out, but then Charles, I'd have never heard the end. He'd have swore up and down that I just cut out his fish catching to make myself look better. I'm telling you. So I didn't want to do that, and I think I caught 2 during that time. But I think Charles caught 3 or 4. And I think he caught them all on the same bait. I'm pretty sure, and I know it was on... And Charles, you have to comment when you watch this video. Charles shows up, and at the time I didn't even know it was this bait. But Charles pulls out, and he called it peanut butter and jelly, and I did too. That's what it looked like to me. But they don't call it peanut butter and jelly. And I'm not even sure which one Charles was using. If he was using the one that's 4 to 8, it's a little bit smaller, or the 9 to 14 foot one. But Charles went on a little mini clinic there, just caught one. Like, hey, caught another one. I was like, what the heck? What were you using? Let me look at peanut butter and jelly. What is that? It's like a peanut butter and jelly wiggle wart. And then caught another one. I'm like, Charles, where'd you get that at? He didn't even remember. He's like, I don't know, Everhart or Walmart or somewhere. So if you haven't heard about these, the Firetail Craw from Headhunter. And this color is called Stalker Craw. Now, evidently, they're all almost in stock everywhere. You'll look them up. I believe they had them up at Rogers. I think they have them at, well, several other places. They do have them at Tackle Warehouse, but there's one of them, and I can't remember the name right at this moment. You'll see if you go look them up. There's one color that is always out, and Rogers didn't have any either. So when that color comes in, I'm going to get, evidently, people think it's a hot color. I just got the color that I watched and witnessed Charles catching them on. One of each size, just to get my input on them, see what I thought. So I'm gonna open them up. We're gonna take a quick look at them, compare them to, this is pretty much, I don't know if, I would call it, it's not really a knockoff of a wiggle wart. I think it's more of a knockoff of a rock crawler myself, or wiggle wart combined. Because it looks more rock crawler like to me than a wiggle wart. But what's funny is I was looking, I just started searching like you guys also do, probably YouTube videos and what people had messed with these or talked about them, and wiggle wart basically versus rock crawler, because the only other bait, oh boy, super good together, that was really working for me as far as in this style, because I tried my original wiggle warts, I still got super glue, this thing's still wet, was this rock crawler, the 55. I've tried the other ones, this one, no offense to Spro, but this one to me sucks. The Fat Papa 55. I don't know, maybe it's that color. That one, I'm probably taking it out of my tackle box. And then this little Spro, I don't even know which one this is. Back at one time, I was just buying them. Before I really even heard that the rock crawler was a real deal, I just bought several, like a few different sizes. And up until here recently, I thought they all sucked. Now, I know at any given time any one of these may work, but I don't have any confidence in those two for nothing. After this weekend, that one caught me 2 fish and was getting pretty deep. And then just what I've heard about them, because if you guys remember right, when I went down Average Joe's Fishing Club, we went to that meet and greet, and I caught my only smallmouth on a Ned rig, right? But the Van and his buddy, another member of Average Joe's Fishing Club, they were talking about catching them on rock crawlers, which this dude right here was in my tackle box that whole day, but I just never took it out and used it. I was using other stuff, and then we heard that that's what they said they were catching them on. It'd have been nice to know that going into the place, and I should have already known that, but just like back in the day when I originally found that the Digit worked real good, that thing probably rode around my tackle box for a year before I ever got it out and really threw it, in the right time, right place to get confidence in something. So anyway, let's move. Let me make a little bit of room. So in my opinion, these guys, and you guys comment if you guys had any luck with this Fat Papa 55 or whatever this one's called. It's definitely smaller than all of the others, but I don't like either one of those. They're going in the bin, probably the dollar bin at some point. So I've had several of the, original wiggle warts, right? That's what these are. Now, Charles, I think I either gave or he ended up with some, and I don't know if I gave Matt any or not, but I'll be honest. The craze in the wiggle warts, I've never been as big a fan. Yes, they'll catch fish, and I've caught fish on them, but I've just never, and I guess because I don't go to those places that have enough rock and enough deep, steep banks to really utilize a wiggle wart. I mean, there's times and there's places and all that, but I just don't put enough time into them. So I guess this season I'm going to try to pick up my, little deeper diving, mid-diving depth cranks, because everything I've tried, like these piles of junk, let me show you this pile of junk. I've always tried to do it with the square bill, because I feel like it'll bounce off wood or whatever, and I'm less likely to lose it. And I always end up trying these piles of junk like this thing. Longer bill with the square, and some of you guys may love these. These deep diving 1.5s, man, these things so far are sucking for me. They just stick to every rock they touch. They're just not. And I'm not talking about, I didn't really want them to stick the rocks, but I want them to, if I get down and then try to feel my way across stuff, working them real slow, but mainly for, working them close to the bottom, and I might come across a lay down or something and I want something to bounce over it. Kind of a more of a cover almost deal, just basically a little deeper than what your 1.5 square bill would do. I don't know. So far, those are sucking for me, and I've got several colors. And so far, this dude, which should be, the 3XD or whatever. Some of you guys may love this bait, but evidently this should be somewhere in this range of these guys. So far, that dude sucks, in my opinion. So this one I had Norm Coulter paint up, and I think I had him put too much orange. I think I'm going to scrape most of the orange off that. I just think it's a little too much for this bait. And you can't tell it was original Wiggle Wart. I don't think you can see through the paint, I don't think anymore. So he painted the whole thing because I think it was already rubbed off anyway. But I think that is an original one. And what's funny is I'll show you this one. This one is definitely original one, probably the freshest one I have, and I kept it. And I think I had one just like it I gave to Charles and a couple others. But you can see it says right on it somewhere. Come on. Oh my God, can you guys make that out? Wiggle Wart right there. And then this one says Wiggle Wart. So these are originals, right? This one, let me see if it rattles. You hear that faint rattle? This dude's got some issues. Sometimes you got to take it and knock it on something hard to get it to rattle. So evidently it's either got a small crack, leak, I don't know, but some of them are just notorious for that, to rattle the stick, or the little ball and arrow stick. But I'll be honest, I feel that like they have their times, but they kind of remind me of the old Excalibur rattle traps. I felt my luck's picked in once I switched to the Booyah that I heard imitated, I bought them out or whatever. And then once I switched to the Booyah Hard Knockers, and this is a 1-knot, I feel like my luck improved with my rattle traps on the newer ones, just in my opinion. Now, I've watched footage of the older rattle traps and the pre-Rapala rattle traps, and they definitely have a wider, more hunting action than the newer ones and almost anything that copies them. But they're limited to how deep they'll go. So some of these newer ones, like this newer bait right here, and then the rock crawler, can go deeper if you need to get to that deeper thing. So anyway, and I bring this bait out also to show you that this dude was the next one. Charles, whichever color or whichever size he had, I want to say he must have had the littlest one. He may have had that bigger. I think he had the littlest one. So he's throwing on that little Daiwa rod that he got from the gas station for 15 bucks, that little fiberglass rod. But he caught him initially, but then towards the midday, that dude caught 3 or 4 like pretty quick. But then it kind of started to shut down. But those were the main two. That one of these, whichever size, and then that one. But then I caught a couple on this rock crawler, and then I think I caught one on a drop shot. Charles caught one on a jig, maybe. I don't know if we caught any on a jig that day, but that was Saturday. Sunday's a whole nother day. So anyway, let's compare these. If I'm looking at these two baits right here, the big one looks like a direct copy almost. It's got a slightly different cutout. This one has like a couple gill cutout thing. Eyes are slightly different, but you guys tell me, like that compared to the Wiggle Wart, it is definitely almost a direct copy, and the size wise the bigger one anyway that runs deeper, of the rock crawler over a Wiggle Wart. And the little one is just kind of that same. They got the size of the Wiggle Wart, but it's definitely got different eyes. It's almost the same kind of bill, but the bill So honestly, I think they did a good job. I think they took two baits, whoever, I don't know where they got the molds or who this company is, but I think they took the two baits that everybody were, kind of comparing. And, there's no true replacement for, especially down the Ozarks and them different Beaver Lake and all those places, for a true wiggle wart, the pre-Rapala ones. But these guys jumped in here and pretty much have now copied both. And I know just by watching Charles and whacking them that they should definitely have their time and place. So I got this color. I'll probably get that other cut because it does look good. I'll just probably wait for it to come back in stock and pick up a couple of those. One of each size. I don't know. There's a few others. And they've got several at Rogers, unless this video went viral and everybody bought them out at Rogers. But the color that's missing, there's none. All the others, there's like a bunch of colors up at Rogers Sporting Goods. I don't think this bait is truly caught on just how good it is. And it's only $6.99. So I think it's $1 or so more than the new Wiggle Warts, but it's a few dollars cheaper than the Rock Crawler. And this one, I don't even know how I did it, but I cracked it. It's got a crack going right through here, so I tried to just put some super glue, get it to last as long as it can, so I don't have to spend another $11 on that bait to replace that, because that's a good color. And they do make several good colors also. But I don't even know if I want to get a Rock Crawler. I may just get those. These are $6.99, like $11 or $10.99. And these have pretty good colors too. So I don't know. You know the deal. I'll probably end up with 20 of each. But I'm trying to improve my overall everything, right? Fish catching game. You got purple ones, don't you, Charles? No, I just got one of each. I didn't know if you picked up anything when you went looking or not. So tell me what you need and I'll have to go. I still haven't went to any of our local Walmarts around here to see if they got any. So you send me a message. Which one do you have anyway, Charles? You got the big or the little one? Need spares. Charles, we don't need spares. We fish on a budget here. We have one of each thing, and then we cry about it when we lose it in a stump. Or we take off down to our undies and go swimming for it, Charles. You know how we do it. So, let's talk about... we tore them up on those, not really tore them up, but hey, when it's 42-degree water temps, I think we call it 6, 7 each, something like that. So, quite a few bass. I caught the biggest one, by the way, on the biggest bait. The 3/4 ounce Booyah. Hard one, that's just a one knocker in the Toledo Gold. Those are awesome baits. I suggest you guys pick up the 1/2 and the 3/4 ounce in the rattling one, 1/2 ounce, and the one knocker things, because that's a good color, and so's I like their bone color too. Now last year the olive or the oyster color from Strike King seemed to be the better one of the two, but I know I'm going off on a whole different deal, but hello. I hung myself like I had a good hook set in my finger. Those are my two favorite colors, period. Like, hey, I'm a fish. Hey, I'm a crawdad. Right? Forget about it. 3/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce. Now, I do have a couple, just the older ones. Oh, yeah, I did try this Magic Man. The Magic Man sucked in the, whatever color that is, this guy here. That dude, I tried him briefly. He didn't catch me nothing, 13 fishing. Here is my attempt to make a LV500. I just added a bunch of weight on it. I didn't even get it out to throw it. I was like, I'm going to make a 1/2 ounce heavy and throw it. But that oyster color, I do like that oyster color. We had pretty good luck with it at Lake Lafayette last year. We were doing good with it. I've kind of given up on trying to find good cranks like in this range and rattle trap range coming from AliExpress. I just don't think their stuff ain't there yet. They don't really have a good true knockoff to some of these real good baits that just get bit. So we did, most of our damage was kind of weird. Same water temps the next day, different body of water, smaller body of water. Definitely old dead grass. That's where we usually get it on chatterbaits. So Saturday was pretty much hard baits. Sunday we go out, and so I don't even remember what we started with, to tell you the truth. I haven't edited that footage yet, but same kind of deal. It was like they weren't up on yet, which is likely it's only 42, 43 degree water temps. And then we found them out deep, but then they didn't want the cranks, the rattle traps, I think I think he caught his first one on a jig, I believe. You got Spro and Toledo Gold. What are you talking about? So anyway, it turned into they were hitting on. We did catch some on jigs and then on chatterbaits, and we pretty much finished about the same kind of day, 6, 8 fish a piece probably, but the water temps were the same, but the air temps were 10 degrees warmer on Sunday, but it was way windier and we were in the wind and we couldn't get out of it. So it actually felt a slight chill to it compared to 10 degrees. Like it was 50 degrees Saturday, felt better than 60 degrees on Sunday with the wind blowing. I think I did manage one on this dude right here. I think I talked about that before. And I know I just chunked it off. I just bit that off and bit around the edges with my chompers, slapped it on there and threw it out. And I was like, I'm going to try it. Because it was kind of on a black and blue kind of thing. I think we caught 3 or 4 on black and blue stuff. Chatterbaits, jigs, and then this underspin. So the normal colors that work at that place are like that orange crawl type color. Something similar to this, and it couldn't get bit. And I did manage one on the bee height color, but it was a chatterbait, not this one, but that bee height color, I managed one fish on something like that. I've got a lot of jigs I'm getting rigged up. Anyway, let's talk about the don'ts. So if I was you guys, right now is the time, then water temps are coming up, and if you got steeper banks, especially with rocks, to where you could run one of these without getting it caught in grass, old dead grass and gunk, but you could bounce off of a rock bottom, any kind of harder bottom. If you got any older or new wiggle warts, you can still catch some fish on even the brand new wiggle warts. But if you can get your hands on some of these firetail craws or the Spro rock crawler 55, I wouldn't mess with none of the others unless somebody else can tell you otherwise. I would actually go this route before I would try to. I don't plan on messing with none of the other ones unless I just get the rock crawler 55. They make a MD 55, which is mid depth or whatever. It's supposed to be closer to a wiggle wart, but I would honestly, if it was me, these are cheaper, can be found. I would track that down unless you're just a Spro fan, like them certain colors they have. There's nothing wrong with them. They will catch fish. I can attest to myself catching them, and there's just several people talking about them catching fish on. Let's talk about the baits that suck. So far, still this season, I did manage one was that on Sunday, Charles? I managed one crazy oddball fish decided to hit the chick magnet. So I've caught a fish on the chick magnet, caught a fish on the drop shot. That was Saturday. Threw one of these colors. Did I throw that color maybe? Because Charles was throwing peanut butter and jelly. I don't like the way these throw or swim. I bought 4 of them. They're only like $1.50 or $2 a piece. So I got like $8 invested in this pile of junk that I don't know. I might try them again. But I bought this one was like $1 more or something. Very similar, more of just a round bill, not a square bill. This one actually, it didn't catch anything, and I didn't fish it for long. I didn't fish none of these for long. But those I didn't really like the way they were working. They're okay, but I don't know. They don't feel right to me. This one felt pretty good. So this one I'm going to give some more try. It's kind of got that, I call it almost a trout type color. But it did feel pretty good. I think I'm about done with messing with these, trying to find a square bill that runs deep. I think I'm going to go with the fact that these, and for $6.99, I mean, I don't want to lose any, but it's not as horrible if you just start throwing those around and you do occasionally lose one. I'll just have to see how catchy and sticky they are. If they're, too bad, I'll just I'll throw a swim jig down in those places and swim it real slow, or underspin, or just a swim bait without, on a jig head, weedless jig head or something. But there's times, especially it's colder. The colder water, like I feel when you're out and the water's above 55 degrees, I can find a lot of different ways usually to track down a bite or something. When that water's below 55 degrees, you got to throw something and just take what you can get, in my opinion. Like you got to. We did find fish, and I'll try to explain that real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. Oh, you found a spro bait in the Toledo Gold? I don't know. I think I looked. Do they call it Toledo Gold, or it just kind of looks like it? But anyway, I'm not done with these. This is just... I definitely have never had a ton of luck on this color, but it's a more natural. I don't know. It's not worth trying to get painted with that thing, because I know as soon as I tried to paint it, you know, I couldn't paint it probably, but have somebody paint it, that thing would stick and never rattle again. And it doesn't really rattle, I think, as loud as it should. So probably what's going to happen is all three of these are going bye-bye. Might keep that guy around, and I may buy one of the new ones. They've got a couple colors I really like in the new one. You know, that's a copy. They're the Ghost or the Phantom or Ghost colors of, and they do look. I was watching another guy that's big on Wiggle Warts, and they got the colors real close, even though they may not work exactly the same way. So I may keep this guy, buy those two other ones, and keep those around, Wiggle Warts. But then I'll probably be living here with these type, my mid depth stuff, along with, you guys remember, right, I do like the deep diving Jabberjaw, the regular Jabberjaw, and then I've got my 1/0s square bills. So my cranking to mid cranking, I don't really like deep cranking. I'd rather throw a jig down there, or once you get past pretty much that resistance coming back at you, in my mind, you know, it almost becomes too much work to set and mess with. And I'm never really anywhere where it's that deep to where I feel you got to get something that goes, you know, much deeper along the rocks and stuff, and what these guys right here, these two will do. So yeah, this one, yeah, I'll keep that one just since I had Norm paint it. That dude's got a short life running out of my box. I gotta make room for other baits, right? So anyway, I told you guys I was gonna keep this under an hour. All right, now you guys can help me out with my dilemma. Here's my dilemma. It's a high dollar dilemma. Charles, help me out with this dilemma too. I know, I don't need any more reels. Okay, so I'm looking on Digitaka. I can get a brand new Zillion 10. I know, nobody needs a high-speed 10 reel. I just like that reel. I think I need that reel in my life. So I would take this reel and utilize it somewhere else, probably half spooled up, throw it on something where I use more for moving baits. The Zillion 10 would go on my 7-foot heavy for frogging, heavier jigs, you know, just all that kind of stuff. And then I've also got my eye on that crazy HLC Steez A that will cast even further, should, in theory. It's got a wilder spool. Even the guy from Japan Tackle commented on it and tried to make a replacement spring and spool kit you can buy because they say it's too wild, but there's nothing too wild for us here at Bass and Bonsai. So I thought about buying that one. Between those two, you're looking at like $675, I think, delivered to me from Digitaka. But then I also found a Zillion 10 on eBay that looks brand new. And I found a More Than, the newer style that's the Steez A, basically platform, but the More Than. Now it's got some scuffs and some marks on it, but I could get both of those for just under $600, so $300 a piece. I know, I don't need any of them, but Matt's supposed to be buying this other one, the Zillion, which I still have silver in the box, been sitting there. Calcutta Conquest BFS, I need to get it sold, but I'm probably going to buy the new one when it comes out, but it's got a few months before I have to worry about that, which, I mean, it's not a big deal. But then Charles already has some money for me. We sent some stuff. Charles bought another reel from me, sold some stuff for me. I've got another reel and rod that Matt's supposed to buy, and maybe another one. And then I'm definitely getting rid of the, sorry guys, the Bantam. The weight is finally, I can't, it's just too heavy. It's too bulky. It makes my what I plan on doing, you guys know me, once I get out there rolling, that 7-foot medium moderate with these on it is perfect. It throws all of these baits. It throws, I was throwing 3/4 ounce rattle trap with it with a light, crazy light line you'll see in the video. And it works. It's a lighter, it feels lighter than a 6'9" medium heavy with that Bantam on it. You know, it palms as comfortably now maybe because I'm used to like fishing with these, so they all have the same palming feel, and this one's close to those, and the Bantam's kind of by itself, but it's heavier, and it just feels so. The Bantam, if you guys want to buy it, I don't want to hear anything later on when I sell it for like $215. It's got a lot of love put into it. When I put the drag clicker on it, the drag star added to it, and I put the stock knobs will go back on it, but that's 20, 35, over $35 worth of parts, and then my time in putting them on, and I gave $215 for it. So I'm losing like $50 by selling it for $215 because I'm gonna have to pay shipping to somebody else. Matt's got a buddy that says he says might buy it, and then the Calcutta Conquest BFS. I just it would definitely be worth more the fact that the new one's coming out. And it's supposed to be a touch smaller, but it should still sell for whatever I said I'd sell it for, $315, something like that, with the chameleon spool. So I need to hurry and get that stuff sold, but I may buy 1 or 2 or 3 reels before that happens. Then I'm done until something else comes out that I really want. Yeah, that's it. The rods, I'm still up in the air. I need to go out fishing again. I need to go fishing. What I really need is a true jerkbait rod. I got one of these purple ones. I'm going to sell one to Matt, the heaviest one for Maddie, and the Micro Monster. So then I'll just have well, the lingle can cover, I got it on the medium light, well, the Joker, but it can cover lightweight. I can basically turn it into whatever else, along with the medium light carbon light that's going to have probably this guy on it, which is another lingle, and they can throw crazy light. They can also throw almost anything you want. These are very all-around reels. They can do a lot. If you guys remember right when I very first last year and we were out there doing cast testing, I'm like, you want an all-around BFS? This is the reel. It can get low. It can't go like creek and stream trout magnet fishing, 1 gram, but 2 grams and up to crazy, like the line capacity is what limits it. And I got a deep spool coming that's crazy light for like this guy to try, because this guy's regular spool works good too, but for whatever reason, that shallower spool, it's like it's like if once you get that thing set, look where that one is. See how it's not to 4, and they all seem to end up there. I don't even like intentionally set them there. This one's like 1 more. So you got to go just another click tighter with the ones that aren't FTB style. But once you get like right in that's like the sweet spot. That's the honey hole. That's the wheelhouse. Them suckers will fling. It's like a set and forget it, and you can just zing those baits. And they work real good. It's hard to knock anything about these reels yet. All right, what else? I think that's it. I've been under the weather. If you guys been wondering, like, where's Charlie been? Charlie went out in those 2 days in a row fishing with Charles, and every night I come home, I guess just because I was out all day breathing the cold air, it messed with my sinuses. I've still been going to work, but I've not been going to the gym or doing anything after work. I just come home and yeah. But we're getting ready to get out there. It's almost time. Like, we've got another cold spell. It's supposed to snow tonight, 2 to 4 to 6 inches. But then be back in the 50s. So Charles, we may have to go fishing again. I don't know where, but I got to get some of this stuff lined up. I'm guessing it'll be a finesse jig, micro, mini chatterbaits, and a rock crawler, rattle trap kind of days again. It's just weird how the first day I kept trying to finesse them too much. Charles started right off the bat with one of these guys, and then once I adapted, and went to this dude and that crazy big rattle trap. I joined in the fun too. I was kind of going too finessey. That's one thing as I get out of here. I know I've been getting out of here forever. I consider fishing kind of like RC racing. You know, and you consider, even if you're going and you're just going for that day, or even if you're going for 2 hours, or even if you're going RC racing for one night or the weekend, when you first arrive at the RC track and put your car on the track, or you put your boat in the water, your practice is really started, okay? There's like really two mindsets in my mind. There's somewhere all in between, but to the extremes, there's two ways to look at how you practice to accomplish what your end goal is, right? You want to win the race. You want to catch as many fish as possible, right? You can start slow or you can start fast. RC racing, you can come out there and just start trying to go as fast around the track as you can, trying to make every jump. You're going to crash and burn more. You're going to break more parts maybe, but you probably may get to that top speed and get to where you want faster than if you just putt around. And I've seen guys from the upper levels to the beginners do it both ways. It's kind of a mindset that people just have in their mind. And I think fishing's the same way. You jump out there and you grab the craziest, loudest, noisiest, fastest reeling combo and bait and just start covering water. Or you can go, especially if you know a spot or you know the type of spot where you think they'll be, you know, oh, they're going to be out in 10 foot of water off the nearest, you know, points or whatever kind of thing. And you can go out there and just start soaking something. And in my opinion, it's, well, anybody that knows me can tell you in my RC days, I'm all out. I throw it out there. I'm over cussing in the pits, replacing A-arms, shock towers, and everything else until I get it done. I usually just slow down and I'm way faster. So I try to start that way with fishing generally. Cold water always throws me off because I just have it in my head, oh, they're going to be finicky, they're going to be slow. But sometimes that's not the case. Same thing with hot days. You're like, oh God, I didn't get out till noon. It's already 89 degrees. They're going to be hunkered down. I'm going to have to start throwing a worm. That's not always the case either. I like to get out there, and I need to tell myself that more, even when it's cold. A lot of times, you'll hear a lot of people tell you this, throw your favorite or your confidence baits no matter what. When in doubt, throw what you know, right? Just like you're out there on the RC track. You know you like jumping your RC car? Jump that sucker. Don't worry about how it lands. Get out there, have fun, cover some track, cover some water, then slow down as you need to. You usually never have to speed up. You usually have to just slow it down until you get in a rhythm. So yesterday, the first day, me and Charles got on our rhythm about the time the sun was going down and it was getting cold quick. So we wrapped it up. But if we'd have been there another couple hours earlier, we probably would have caught a lot more fish. And that's another thing. If you know you have all day, let's say you go to a pond, small pit, small lake. You got a boat, you can put in this pond, pit, or lake, and you can cover it in like 2 hours, and you got 8 hours to fish. Well, then you may want to buzz one time around it real fast and just hitting spots and just not even stop. Catch a fish here, catch a fish there, take a note in your head. I'm going to come back and hit that spot again. Or you can stop and, fish it real good right then and there. Throw something moving and then slow down, whether it be a moving hard bait, soft bait, there's several different ways you can finesse fish hard baits. You can power fish soft baits, but start covering water and then slow down. And then even though you've passed it all around, a lot of times they'll stage up on different spots at different times of the day. You got to keep that in mind. But if you're new to a place and you're covering a big body of water, it's usually the best bet is to just take something confidence that you know around that time of year, or somebody that just told you that should work around that time of year. And if you don't know any better, at least start somewhere and start covering water. And that's kind of what we did. We started covering water. We caught them. What's funny is almost both times, right off the bat, we caught them right out in the middle. But then it's like they moved. So we caught 1 or 2 or 5, and then they were gone. They weren't on the depth finder, and they weren't there. So then we just proceeded to cover the whole area we were at. And we came right back to where we started and caught them again. Caught them on different baits, but basically the same thing both days. And that's why I think, in my mind, on a smaller place, the one was a little lake and the other one was a mid-sized pit. Smaller bodies of water, I think bass, just like you in a boat, if a bass can just basically just be creeping around the bottom and they'll like circle the bowl, basically. Imagine that. Like you see fish swimming in your tank, whether it's cold or whatever. A lot of times when they're in the mood, and it could be temps set them there. But even though that water's 42 degrees, it's been warming up, right? It's you got several days. I think fish start moving. They don't move up on spots and they're not doing a transition. They just start moving. So they're going to have to be sitting there flopping their fins anyway, exerting a little energy. It doesn't take much more to just let yourself start coasting around. And I think that's what they were doing both days on us. Is we come over this, where you see a drop off and they were there, bam, you catch a couple. We go back, and then nothing, and then they're gone. We'd go circle, do something else, come back, and then they may be there again. They may not be. We went, hit another spot, come right back there. Oh, they're here. Catch one or two, and we never did really try to follow them because we didn't pay enough attention to see which way, were they circling this way or that way or what was going on. But I think that's what a lot of your fish will do. I know a lot of times in clear water, you'll just see cruisers, like in warm water, you'll just see a little, mini schools of bass, 2 to 3, could be 5 or 8. They just kind of out hunting pack, just kind of cruising the bank. And I think I don't think they ever really stop doing that, even cold water. I think they'll group up and they may hunker down on certain, extreme cold for 2 weeks, nothing really changes. But then I think when something changes, that water starts warming up to even in the slightest. Could be 5 days of direct sun and no, sun and wind, but not the cold air is kind of left, or a warm water's, a rain or something warms it up just a few degrees, can get them just moving around a little. So anyway, but I know I'm almost hour. Nobody's even talking. Charles, go to sleep. You're drunk. All right, guys, get out, go bass bonsai. Stay tuned. See how many rock crawler, slobber knocker, jabberjaw, booyah baits we end up by the end of just this week.